What's up, guys? I'm Melissa. This is Jessie. We are Adventure Endeavor. We are going to talk to you in this video about our top 10 RV mistakes.
There's some pretty good ones in there. And we want to remind you to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you enjoy the video, if you find that there was some good knowledge in this video, like things to avoid, some stuff that we wish we knew beforehand, give it a thumbs up. And if you feel so inclined, even give it a share maybe.
Yeah.
So we're just going to start outright with the down and dirty. I don't know why we're both doing this. But let's start number one. So we had an issue with our toilet seal, which is basically the rubber flap that's in the bottom of your toilet. We didn't realize that it was leaking and it was kind of stinky and it wouldn't hold water.
Right.
And I've never owned an RV before. I mean, I'm pretty mechanically inclined and I didn't really think about it until a friend mentioned something to us and I was like, oh, we've gone X amount of time with not having our tank hold water and it being somewhat stinky.
It was 3 months because it was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a while. So then I
months.
literally go and buy a 2-pack on Amazon of these seals for the Dometic Toilet and fixed it in 10 seconds. And we lived with it for 3 months.
Solved the problem
So
immediately. We used a lot of those like chemical packs. We kept
were like,
dumping
why
them in
does
there.
it
We're like,
smell?
why does it still smell so bad?
Horrible.
Yeah.
Your toilet needs to hold water as well. My wife absolutely...
It was just a funny story.
This is something like, you know when you say people don't forget? Like, she will never forget
There
this.
are many, many times where Jessie doesn't ever let me live down mistakes that I make. So this is one of the times that I get to take advantage of that.
Alright, let her rip.
So point of the story is that when we were downsizing our house, Jessie wanted to get rid of absolutely everything. We had a lot of crap.
I went wild.
Yes, we had a lot of crap that we didn't need. And he maybe went a little overboard because we thought, you know, we were going to be camping all the time. We were going to be having real fires all the time when we started going full time. And we had a little propane fire pit that we had previously used for camping in areas where you're not allowed to have a real fire. And we sold it at one of our garage sales because
I sold it.
He sold it
because I was like, get rid of everything.
we don't need it. We're gonna have real fires.
Literally a week into full timing, we were at a campground. Everyone had a propane fire. Everyone. And you use it every night. You can just shut it off, go to bed, and then you don't get smoky every night. We love big, nice, smoky, real fires, like when there's a large group. Mm-hmm. But when it's just the two of you, you're like, oh, let's go out for like an hour, have a fire. Like, you just turn on, you have a fire, and then you go to bed and you shut it off, and you don't smell like smoke. Mm-hmm. So, if you have a propane fire pit, do not sell it. We will link one below, a really good one that our friends have. We haven't even gotten one yet.
We still haven't gotten a new one.
We're lacking. We're lagging on
But it's
that.
definitely a great thing to have for RVing in general, but also especially if you're full-timing.
Yeah, so don't sell your fire pit. So this one has only happened to us twice, technically twice, but one of the times it really wasn't a big deal. So we're talking about running out of water. So we boondock a lot, almost exclusively, and our old rig only had 60 gallons of water. So we would do a week, we could push 10 days if we were very, very careful. One time we ran out in Louisiana, and that was my bad because it basically, I was filling it with the hose and it spat out a bunch of water out of the vent, and I was like, okay, it's full. It wasn't full, it just needed to keep pushing water in, and it just gurgled for some reason. So we ran out, but that wasn't a big deal because we ran out the night before we were going to an RV park. No big deal. The second time we were boondocking in Mammoth, California, and Melissa thought we were at the Hilton Resort, apparently, and she went kind of crazy with taking showers because we were only going to be there for about 4 days, and somehow, I don't know how, but we ran out of water. I think it's because it was a very dusty camp and she kept wanting to like wash her legs or her feet. Something along those lines.
Yes, that's what happened.
Apparently that's what happened. But anyways, we ran out of water, and we highly recommend you grabbing a water bladder. If that's something that you think you might want, we'll link it below. They come in different sizes. Same thing. We still haven't gotten one yet because now we have our toy hauler and we have 100 gallons of water. But they're great, and you just buy a little transfer pump, and you can drive into town, fill it up, transfer it into your tank, and you can have a lot of water. You can take longer showers. It's really nice.
All right, mistake number 4 was not having airbags installed on our truck before we started RVing. So basically, when we were driving down the road, it was causing a lot of chucking.
Like this.
Like this. And I will hand it over to Jessie to explain the rest because I don't understand it well enough.
Basically, what she said. So we didn't have airbags on the truck, and our truck was weighed down. It was slightly low in the back, so we needed to level it out anyways, which helps it perform better, be more stable on the highway. It just makes it safer in general. But the problem is that the springs were so compressed at ride height that basically they weren't at the right spring tension that they should be at. So basically it caused chucking. We put the airbags on, and we took our old trailer and we did one trip, and we were like, oh my gosh, night and day difference. This was with a BMW companion hitch, non-slider, our old Keystone Cougar, and the airbags, and that was it. And it was a night and day difference. And then now our trailer's a little heavier, so we absolutely need airbags. But if you're experiencing some chucking, you might want to consider airbags, and then just your overall setup in general, potentially a different hitch. Now we have the Andersen, and I feel like it's even less chucking. So the Andersen plus the bags and this toy hauler we have are a great combo.
And if you're curious about the Andersen Hitch or the airbags, we have videos about the installations. We'll put it up in one of these corners around here so you can check those out. All right, guys, our next biggest RV mistake, number 5, was getting a construction style generator right off the bat when we started full timing. They are about half the price of an inverter style generator, but they're super duper loud, and we just felt really bad running it. The few times that we even did use it, it's just so loud. We felt really bad. So we actually ended up, part of our upgrade to our second RV was getting this toy hauler that had an onboard generator, but an inverter style generator, if you don't have an onboard, is the one that you want to go with.
Yeah, we recommend the Harbor Freight Predator. Comes in various sizes, and a lot of our good friends have them. If we didn't have the onboard Cummins Onan generator, that's what we'd get. So another mistake that we have made a couple times, not too badly, is not scouting locations ahead. And this is a lot of variation, so it's not a blanket statement, it's just a lot of stuff to think about. For instance, one time we were in Maine, and we were like trying to find a dump station, and we're like, oh, like let's just go down this road, it'll be fine. We went down, and then the dump station was closed and it was all fenced off, so we couldn't get in there, so we just kept going down this road. Lo and behold, like we finally decided to look at the map, and we're like, cool, this is a dead end. So it was a small road and it turned into dirt, so we had to back out. Like I had to back out so far out of this road, and you know, we were new, we were like so excited, having so much fun. So you know, maybe if you're like, oh, I'm going to a dump station, I don't know the area, maybe look at the map like a little bit before. Do you have anything else to say about that?
Well, I was just going to say scout ahead if possible if you happen to be camping nearby, but you know, if you're traveling a long distance to get where you're going, that's not possible.
But just check Google Maps a lot. You can look at aerial view,
satellite view.
And then as well with camp spots, like, you know, you might have to drop your trailer and go scout out like a boondocking spot, or maybe take e-bikes, or if you have an extra car. We've been known to, sometimes if we're making a short hop like an hour away, we'll just drive over there with the truck before we move and be like, oh yeah, like there's a lot of good spots, like it's gonna be easy. Just makes life easier.
But that's, again, only with short hops is that even possible.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's how we recommend to travel anyway.
Yeah. Number 7 is very similar to what we just stated, and it's avoiding long travel days. We've done this quite a few times, and almost every time we do this, we end up damaging something. It's mostly me because I'm tired and I do most of the driving. This one time we pulled in a boondocking spot and I tried to make a turn that I couldn't have made in a Honda Civic, and I tried to make it in a 38-foot fifth wheel, and basically it flexed out the trailer so much that we ended up denting the bed rail of the truck, We ended up tearing up the underside of the fifth wheel, and overall it just put us in a bad mood. So, you know, just be careful and don't make your travel days too long, and don't make silly mistakes.
Alright guys, our next biggest RV mistake was buying 2 trailers. We thought we were making the right choice when we bought our first one, our Keystone Cougar, and it turned out that it just wasn't going to work for us. After living in it for 8 months, we decided that we needed to upgrade to a toy hauler because we wanted higher water capacity for longer periods of boondocking. We wanted the separate toy box so that we could have a separate office space from our hangout and relaxation space in the living room. And this ended up costing us a lot of money. You know, we're really happy with our Keystone Carbon that we have now, and it was worth it, but it was definitely a big waste of money. But this kind of thing happens all the time, especially when people are living full-time in an RV, especially traveling full-time. You very quickly realize what isn't going to work for you, and what you can and can't compromise on. But it cost us so much money because we had to get solar installed a second time, and basically all of the solar that we had installed on the first rig, even though we used it every single day for 6.5 months, it was gone. You know, that we couldn't save anything from it. It wasn't really worth it to keep any of the components. So we just had to cut our losses and reinstall solar on the new rig. And if you're curious about the solar setup we have right now, we will put a link in one of these corners right here to that video. So go ahead and check it out.
All right, so number 9 is not having the correct fifth wheel hitch. So we had a BMW Companion, and we have a short bed truck, and our old Keystone Cougar had a longer neck and it had shaved corners on the fifth wheel, so we could easily turn 90 degrees. When we got our new trailer, it didn't have quite as long of a pin box, and unfortunately we did what a lot of first timers do. We weren't really first timers because it was our second trailer. We should have known better. But here's the main thing: don't listen to the dealer. Don't listen to the dealer. Make sure you do your own research and check the turning radius with your truck and with your trailer. Otherwise, this is what will happen. So we have our beloved truck here. Unfortunately, we got a dent the first time out with our new trailer, and that's a pretty big mistake because it's a dent in the cab, and you're excited about your new trailer, and instantly that excitement goes away and it turns into, I guess, anger or sadness or disappointment, questioning your decision to get a larger trailer. Now we have the Andersen Ultimate Connection, and for us that was perfect because it pushes it back a little bit and it gives you more clearance. We can turn about 85 degrees, which in most scenarios is plenty. Yeah, lots of times people actually lose their window as well. We were fortunate that we didn't. That's something to be very aware of. Do your research and get the correct hitch for the correct setup that you need.
I'll say it again. Don't trust the RV dealer. Do your own research.
All right, guys, so this is number 10, and in our opinion, the biggest mistake we made personally.
Yeah.
So it was our bike rack that we put on the bumper of our old trailer. Originally, you can watch our older videos, and we have a video dedicated to this subject. We had a Keystone Cougar. It was a standard fifth wheel, and we put a hitch, not a hitch mount, a bumper mounted bike rack. We had 2 bikes on there, and we actually had 2 spares because that was something I saw somewhere, and I was like, oh, 2 spares will be great. Anyways, I calculated the weight, and we went with what was considered safe. It was the type that had a pull-out rack. We weren't even using the pull-out rack. I believe it was like 225 pounds. So we were within limits, but I think that's designed for like a weekender, you know, somebody who goes to the beach or goes to the lake and brings 2 bikes and they drive 10 miles each way or whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely not designed for full-time use, and our bike rack was bouncing around like crazy.
Yeah, I had it ratchet strapped, and then on top of that, it just destroyed our bikes. But anyways, we come into a boondocking spot, and I like get out because I'm like scouting the spot, and I look at the back of the trailer, and literally our bike rack was just tilted backwards, and the whole bumper like was just separating. Like the welds didn't break, it was literally just tearing the steel on both sides. So I'd highly recommend a front truck mounted hitch rack. You can get basically a receiver for a hitch in the front of your pickup truck or your SUV or whatever, so the bikes don't bounce. In the front, they don't bounce nowhere near as much as they do in the back. And we think this is our biggest mistake, because if we had lost those bikes, it would have been very dangerous for us and obviously people behind us.
Yeah.
So, and I also like the idea of the front hitch rack because you can see the bikes. You can keep an eye on them. I mean, I guess if they fell off, then you run them over. But
I mean, we were really only, what is it, 2 months in? We were driving through Texas.
Yeah, and we had one problem with it, with the hitch. We got it welded at a local shop.
We started
and we're like,
noticing issues
okay,
then.
and we started to notice issues then. We put ratchet straps on it. We were foam padding everything to try and keep the bikes nice. And that kind of is why we're sitting right here now. So now we have a toy hauler. And now we have bikes right here. They're wrapped in blankets. They're out of the weather. They're not going to fall off the back of our rig. I'm not saying go buy a toy hauler for your bicycles. Like, that's not the only reason we bought a toy hauler.
One of the many, though.
It was one of the many. It wasn't the main one.
No.
But like I said, I would recommend either keeping your bikes inside your trailer if possible, or inside your RV if possible, or a front hitch rack. And I believe they make them for RVs. I don't see why they wouldn't. Trucks, SUVs. It's just much safer, and you can keep an eye on your bikes.
Alright guys, so last but definitely not least is our bonus tip. We made this mistake going into full-time travel, assuming that it was going to be fun all the time. Assuming that it was going to be a little bit more like a vacation than is realistic. So it's a lot of work. It is not a vacation. You are moving quite often, and that in itself is a lot of work, and especially if you have a regular job that you can do remotely. You obviously also have to be working whatever your regular hours are. So
yeah, and you need downtime.
Yes.
I mean, it's okay to like stay in and do nothing and watch a movie or have a chill day. We found that every other day was really fun. Like, we would do an activity one day, and then we'd have a chill day, activity, chill day. And then we more recently found that just moving on the weekends when Melissa's off work is just so much easier. In the beginning, we were like, we don't want to waste a weekend. We want to, take advantage of all the time we have. And now we're like, no, we'll just move on a Sunday is kind of what we found works the best. We'll move on a Sunday, and then it is what it is.
yeah, we try to stay in a spot 2 weeks at a time now instead of just a week. 10 days was our sweet spot, but we found 2 weeks is a little bit better because then we at least have a full weekend in between moving weekends to explore and enjoy the area. Yeah. So, if you have any questions about items that we mentioned in this video, we'll put a link down below for everything on Amazon. And if you have any other questions, leave a comment, and we're happy to answer any of those for you.
Yep.
Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or got some good information, please give it a thumbs up. And please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to get notified of new videos. As always, thank you for joining us on our adventure endeavor.
Will you say hi and say hello
Say hi
to
to
everybody,
everyone.
to our friends? Oh, hi. To our friends on YouTube. What do you think? Are you a YouTube star? Oh, yes.